Welcome to another VBA tutorial. In today's video, we are going to cover something that is related to Word VBA. So we've seen how we can take different objects and copy them into a Word document. Now we're going to move on to positioning those objects when we're pasting them. So we're going to see how we can take our objects and paste them into certain sections of our Word document. I know this is kind of a highly requested discussion because there are a lot of different ways that we can kind of move about in Word. So naturally, we're going to have to run through a couple of examples of seeing what we can do to take those images and then put them within a particular Word document. So the goal is take this little chart right here, just copy it once and then paste it in different sections. So with that being said, we're going to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close out my window. And I'm going to go into my Word document. So I actually created a Word document earlier. It's just got a bunch of fake text. We're going to go through a couple examples. So the first one is pasting to a bookmark. So an actual bookmark that we specify within our Word document. The next one is going to be pasting to a specific paragraph. So, each individual paragraph, they kind of have their own reference, so we can paste to them. The one after that, we will paste to a specific page and then a paragraph on that page. And then in the final one, we'll do a section. So we can have multiple sections of our particular Word document. And with this one, I made it even a little bit more complicated by putting in these two columns. So there's two individual columns here, and the goal is to paste it right here. And then on the final one, we're going to paste it in between individual words. I don't know the practicality of this, but again, I want to show it to people in case for whatever reason you come across a situation where you have to paste it in between words. So with that being said, now I'm going to jump back to Excel. So I'm going to close out my Word document. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my VBA editor. So you just click your developer tab, go to Visual Basic. We want to enable our library. So this way we can manipulate those Word objects from within Excel. So I'm going to go up to Tools and then down to References. And then from here, I've used this library before, so it's already right there in the front for me at the top. However, if you are new to using this particular library, unfortunately, you will not see it here at the top. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to scroll down to M for Microsoft and then go to W for Word. So it's going to be somewhere right around here. All you want to do is you want to make sure that you check that box. So if you click it and you check the box, it's now enabled. You might see a different number if you're on an earlier version of Office. That is just referencing the version you're on. Everything that we are going to do today should work on all the versions. There is only one time where it potentially might not work, but I will bring that up when it happens. And even that particular moment, I'm still debating if there's actually an issue. So with that, now we can press OK. And now we can start writing. So we're going to create a new subroutine and we'll say position objects in Word. And then we'll put our little brackets, end sub, like all the other videos. We're going to declare our variables. The first group that we're going to declare is our Word variables. The first one we're going to declare is going to be called Word app. This is going to be our Word.application object, so the actual Word application itself. So, just like Excel, PowerPoint, they're all applications. Word's its own application, so we're going to create a new instance of Word and then store it in this variable. The next one is we're going to want to work with a document. Now, in this example, we're going to actually open up an existing one, but it's still considered a Word document object. So we want to be able to create a reference to it and then manipulate it. So we're going to create a variable as a Word document object and then store it in that variable. The next one is called Word range. This, as you guessed, is a Word range object, so you can have different ranges within your document. I want to be able to reference the range that I want to paste it on, and then that way I can easily call it and then just paste it. Very simple. And then finally, we're going to be working with shapes. So I'm going to declare a Word shape object variable. However, this one is a very particular type of shape, and it's an inline shape. Inline meaning that it's inside the actual text itself. So it's in the text components of our Word document. So it's not a normal shape, it's an inline shape. So very important distinction that you have to keep in mind. It's not a regular shape object. The only things that can be inline shapes, I'm not entirely 100% if this is the full list, but I know there's OLE objects, there are pictures, and then active X control objects. So those are, I believe, are the only ones that can be inline shapes if memory serves me right. With that, now we can declare our Excel variables. So there will be our Excel variables. And with that one, there's only one. And it's a chart object. And as you guessed, it is the chart that we will be copying and pasting many times. And with that, sorry, I have to move my notes. With that, now we can go and create our new instance of Word, because if you look down here, you will notice I don't have an instance of Word open, so I need to create a new instance. So we're going to create a new instance of Word. So we're going to set our Word app equal to a new Word.application object. And then I want to make sure I can see that application, so I'm going to take the visible property and set that equal to true. And then I want it to be the main window on my system, so I'm going to call the activate method to bring it to the front of my system. And then with this one, we've created a new instance of Word. Now we're going to open our document. So we're going to open the Word document. So we're going to set the Word doc variable equal to the Word app. We're going to go into the documents collection, and then we're going to call the open method. And then with this one, there's a lot of different properties we can set. I'm just going to pass through the file name, and that's just simply the actual file path. So I have to remember this one, users, and then it is Alex desktop, and then it is my Word doc, and then we have to put the extension at the end. So lowercase doc x, so a Word document. And now we've opened our document, so now we can create a reference to the chart and then copy it. So we'll create a reference to the chart. So we'll set our chart object equal to the active sheet. On every sheet, there is something called a chart objects collection. So this is all the individual charts that exist on that worksheet. And I'm going to use the index method to select one of them. So I'm going to pass through the first chart. So I want the first chart on my worksheet. That's the first one that I created. And now that I have that, I'm going to copy the chart. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the chart object variable. I'm going to go into chart, so the chart property, and then the chart area property, and then the copy method. This is more for stability issues. You'll see me, like for example, in the PowerPoint ones, I negate this. For Word, it seems to be a little bit fickle, and there seems to be kind of these stability issues and all that kind of fun stuff. This one seems to be the most reliable, so I stick with that one. Now that I've done that, I'm going to add another kind of protection, which is pausing the application for 2 seconds. This is, again, for stability. I'm going to pause it, make sure that Excel has enough time to put it in the clipboard. So I'm going to say application.wait. And then I'm going to do now. And then I'm going to put a number sign, 12:00:02. Make sure you put AM and not PM, or else you will be waiting for a very long time. And then after that, we are good to go. Now we need to create a reference to the range that we want to paste. Now in the first one, we're talking about a bookmark. So we're going to say paste to bookmark. I'm going to set my Word range object equal to my Word doc. And then inside my document object, there is a collection called bookmarks. And I'm going to pass through the name of my bookmark, or I could pass through the index. Let's do the name. It's a little bit easier to remember it. So we're going to say my chart position, pass it through as a string. And then I want to make sure that I get the range property of that bookmark, so the actual range property. If I negate this, we'll have a type mismatch. So make sure you have range at the end of it. So now that you've created a reference to the range, what you can do is you can take that range object and paste it. So we're going to say paste the object, and so we're going to say With word range, end with, and we're going to say go into the paste special, and then we're going to say data type, so how we want to paste it. And then with this one, it is word. What is it? I know I added some. Oh, word paste meta file picture. I can't remember if that one's correct. Meta file picture. Okay, and that's spelled correctly. That's the important part. I always get messed up with that one. Okay, so it's a picture, and then I want it inline. So I want it inline with the text. And so I'm going to say placement, colon equal, word inline, and you're good to go. So we pasted the object. Now, I'm going to run it just as is. You're going to notice that we get these very big objects, and it's just the default one, but I think it's also important to show. Okay, so it pasted it just like we were expecting. Now, sometimes, maybe it's a little bit too big and we want to readjust it. The reason I have to readjust it is if I don't, when I paste this one, it will move some of the information to another page, which is going to now screw up my referencing of which paragraph I'm talking about. So this kind of goes back to another topic. You really should know the layout of your Word document that you're pasting to, and you really should kind of have like a final product, if you want to call it. So that way you kind of understand, okay, as I paste each individual one, how is that moving around all the other content? And how do I need to adjust my script to make sure that it's pasting in the right, the right position? Again, just for you guys to know, and that way, you're seeing it, you're going like, wait a minute, why is it not doing it? More than likely, it's probably because it's moving content around. So I'm going to close out of this, and then we're going to actually reformat the shape. So we'll set the dimensions and stuff like that. So what I have to do is I have to create a reference to the shape. So create a reference to the shape. I'm going to go down a little bit. Okay, and we're going to set that word shape equal to our word doc. And then we're going to go in the inline shapes collection. I'm going to pass through the index. And then with this one, I've now created a reference to that shape. The index is determined by the order in which you see the object in your Word document. So if it's the first object you see, it's inline shape index 1. If it's the second one you see, it is the second index in your inline shapes collection. Very important to keep that in mind. Now that we've created a reference to that shape, we can set the dimensions. So we're going to say with word shape, and we will say end with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, set the height property equal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass through some inches and convert them to points. Now, within the Word app, there is actually a method we can do. We can do inches to points. And all we have to do is pass through a single, which is the inches. And so it's 1.5. And then on the next one, I want the width. And again, it's going to be the Word app, inches to points. And then this one is 2.5. Okay, so let's run this one and see how it looks now. Perfect. Okay, so it shrunk it down, and then it made it where, it kind of just doesn't take up the entire page like we were expecting. Okay, so now that we've done that, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to copy this, and now we're going to move on to paragraphs. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put some space in between it just so that way we don't get confused. And I'm going to change this section right up here. So with this one, we're going to now specify a specific paragraph. So what we're going to say is go into the paragraphs collection that belongs to our document, and I just want the 4th paragraph. And then with this one, we're going to have to change this little section. So now it's the second shape that we're working with, and now you can rearrange that one. It's still not going to look right, but we'll move on to that next. Yeah, see kind of how it's like all messy and it's weird and it's like it's moving this one around? I don't like that. So we got to kind of write our script a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this range property that we've now kind of quote unquote created, And what we're going to do is we're going to take that word range object. We're going to go into the collapse method. And I want to go to the beginning of my range that I've selected, because naturally it's going to select all of it. I say, hey, just go to the beginning. And so I specify the direction parameter, and I say word collapse start. Perfect. And that will take me to the beginning of my particular range. And then from here, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add some space between the top and the bottom of my particular image. So I'm going to say go into the word range object, the paragraph format, and then I want some space after my object, and then it's in points if I remember correctly. So 40 points, and then again paragraph format, I want some space before, and again it's points. So this will make it look a little bit cleaner and all nice aligned and everything like that. Okay, so you can see it added a new image here, and it has some space before and after. It's no longer kind of indenting awkwardly with this little paragraph down here. A lot more cleaner. Okay, so that's doing paragraphs. Let's move on to the next one, which is on a different page. So say we have a different page that we are working on, and we want to paste to a different paragraph in that page. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste to the second page. So I'm going to copy this one, put some space here, and I'm going to say paste to page. And with this one, I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to go into the Word doc. And then with the Word doc, there is something called GoTo, so the GoTo method. I have to specify what kind of GoTo it is. Well, it's a Word go to page, so we're going to a page. And then we have to specify, well, which page. Well, here we're going to be a little bit different. We're going to say which is equal to Word go to absolute. So in other words, I'm going to kind of specify how many pages I want you to go. And with this one, I have to specify the count, and I'm going to say go to. So go to the second page. And then from here, what it will do is it will take us to the second page, but what I want it to do is I want it to go to the next paragraph on that page. So not the first paragraph, but the second paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm again going to take and set my word range equal to the old word range. And then what I want to do is I want to go to next, and I'm going to say next, and it would be unit colon equal, and then it's word paragraph. Perfect. And then again, I want to go to the beginning of that one, so the beginning of the range, and then this will be the third shape, so I got to change that to 3. This little method right here, the next method, that's the one that I can't guarantee is going to work across all versions. I was reading somewhere that it only works on Office 365, and I haven't been able to test whether that is a true or false statement. You know, it was written a long time ago, so I can't say with entire, confidence that that's still valid. They probably have changed it since then, but if that doesn't work in this example, unfortunately, you can't use the next method. Okay, so with this one, it's going to be exactly the same, but now it's on the second page. So we'll run it again. Perfect, so now it pasted it to the second page in between the first and the third paragraph. Great, we are moving along. What if we want to paste to a specific section? So you notice how on that last page when I first started the video, the one with the different columns, well, we're going to paste to that section. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this line, and then we're going to get rid of this. And with this one, we're going to say, okay, go to the sections collection, go to the second section, and then within the second section, get the range property, and then with the range property, go into the paragraph selection. So a section can have multiple paragraphs within its range. We're going into a specific paragraph, so I want the second paragraph, and I want the range from that one. If you can't tell, there is a hierarchy here. It goes section, paragraphs, sentences, words. and each one of them have their own unique range property. So keep that in mind, or at least I don't think Word has its range property. Maybe it does. We'll double check it. But that's kind of the hierarchy: sections, paragraphs, sentences, and then, sorry, what is it? Words. So with this one, we're going to paste it to the second paragraph on the second section. And then with this one, it will be our fourth shape. We still want to go to the beginning of that range, and we still want to do all that kind of fun formatting that we were doing up above. With that, let's run it again. I'll have to scroll down to show you, but great. And now it pasted in that little section right here with our little space in between, just like we were expecting. Okay, so now with the final example, I'm going to paste in between one of the words up here at the top. So fun stuff, right? Again, don't see much practicality with that one, but who knows? There might be some examples out there where people want to do it like that, and I'm all for it. If you can make it work for you, do it. Okay, paste to Word. So with this one, what we want to do is we want to go in up here at the top. We're going to go into the paragraphs collection. I want to go to the first paragraph. I want to go into the range, and then I want to go into the words. So the words of those paragraphs. This is a good thing. So yeah, words does not have a range. And then with this one, I have to specify a particular word. I want the 10th word. And then with this, I still want it to be the beginning of my 10th word. And I still want to paste it all the same, but now it's going to be the first object. So this is where things get a little bit interesting, right? I changed it back to 1. It's because it's now the first object that we see within our Word document. So I purposely did this example like so that way you understand how the index method works. It's 1 because it is now the first object. So if we run it as such, let's see what we get. See, it readjusted it because it was the first one. So, and then it also put it between, I don't know how many words that is. I'm not going to count it. I'm going to trust it's between the 10th or before the 10th. But that's how you would paste it in between individual words. Again, you determine when you want to use that. Again, there might not be a ton of examples of when you would use it, but it's good to know, right? But with that being said, we've made it to our final example. So that does it for today's video. If you have any questions about how to place objects within a Word document, please make sure to put those questions down in the comments below. And also, if you have an example that maybe you think other people would want to see, I also encourage you to put those down in the comments below. And if we get enough of them, I'll probably make a second video, and then we can run through some of those examples. You know, if there's a ton, I probably won't be able to do all of them, but I'll try to get through kind of the more popular ones, I guess would be the word. And then in the next video, we're going to now kind of work with multiple objects. So taking multiple objects and then placing them all about, kind of using arrays and stuff like that more than likely. But with that being said, also make sure to like the video. We always appreciate the support. And if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that way you get regular updates as we release new videos. Thanks again for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video.